order, the population loses confidence in the institutions of state, and therefore they begin to develop what you call self-help measures. In the absence of these groups, you would have what we call mob justice.
It is not that they have lost trust in security, but these are people who are simply engineering violence. Not that somebody does not trust that we shall not do our work, but because he feels he should cause violence.
Citizens are not stupid people. They see all this failure, and then they try to do organized self-help means to be able to address the problem.
Actually, the intention is to defeat the very purpose of our existence and purpose as security agencies.
Police deny allegations of silence or bias, insisting they intervene when intelligence indicates a threat.
Because still I came out and told you how we made a number of arrests as a result of these gangs, which we commonly call a gali.
But opposition parties and civil society groups argue that enforcement is selective. They point to the repeated incidents where known individuals are arrested briefly, only to return to the streets.
In most cases, that's how states fail. Because states fail not because they don't have armies.
We did not lie behind. We made sure that people pay for their sins. I remember on the 15th alone, 15th January, we arrested like 400.
As political violence becomes normalized, analysts warn it risks creating a generation that sees intimidation as opportunity. To them, when political gangs are celebrated and rewarded, education and honest work will lose value.
They know they are committing crime, but they also know that because they are aligned to NRM, nothing can happen to them. So that's why they are celebrating.
Yes, they will be remunerated, but we also make sure that we pose a risk to a number of actors, both those who sponsor them and also the primary actors who are the goons themselves.
As the country transitions into a new government, several questions remain unanswered about who exactly qualifies as a political goon. Is it determined by party affiliation, by proximity to police, or simply by violent behavior? Human rights groups say violence is often judged not by actions, but by who commits it.
You know that you are going to protect your votes against the police. So sometimes the police officers are the ones who are masterminding the stealing, the rigging. They are the ones who are actually commandeering operations to remove your agents from polling stations. These returning officers who are announcing candidates of NRM that have won, even when they are like in the third or fourth position. So the Electoral Commission is another institution.
Gangs are hiding behind that their vote protectors are not allowed in the electoral process. The law provides for polling agents.
The Electoral Commission says it can only conduct elections within the security environment provided.
When complaints come, let's take the civil route. Because you see, once you take the law into your hands, then you have spoiled everything. You can no longer be the aggrieved. Now the law will be looking at you as an aggressor.
It's a very, very dangerous situation. It can easily escalate, or people will just get harmed and killed.
As the election cycle comes to an end, many citizens are left asking whether democracy can survive when fear and not ideas decide the outcome.
The growing number of resident district commissioners in Uganda has sparked controversy again, with critics arguing that the 560 RDCs across 146 districts are more about political accommodation than administrative necessity. This expansion is said to be putting a strain on the country's already constrained public resources, with taxpayers spending 3.9 billion shillings annually of RDCs.
You don't talk to me. You have to first salute me before you talk.
The office of the Resident District Commissioner is established under Article 203 of the 1995 Constitution, mandating them to represent the President in districts and cities. Their key roles include monitoring the implementation of central and local government services, chairing District Security Committee, and performing any other duties assigned by the president. But instead of the numbers of RDCs matching the 146 districts, the figure has ballooned to over 500, raising concerns about the cost of taxpayers and the efficiency of public administration. Politicians and policy analysts say the unusual high numbers suggest the position are being used to politically accommodate individuals who may have failed to secure elective office.
Technically, the RDCs, most of them are redundant, to say the least, because it's basically political accommodation for political survival of the NRM government.
Order has how can you break somebody's house?
Analysts argue that the expansion has resulted in duplicated roles, blurring the lines of authority within Uganda's decentralized governance system.
For purpose of being fair, there would be no crime to have one residence commission in every district, because issues of security are handled by police. You have a district police commander who handles issues of security. You have the office of the DISO, that's the district internal security organization, who handles intelligence in the districts.
RDCs have come under question given their roles in elections and land matters in courts of law. However, the RDC's secretariat rejects claims that commissioners have little to do or that their roles are redundant.
Any other person I would listen to, but not members of parliament. Because the constitution was made in 1995, and it was amended in 2005 by parliament. If they found there was no need for the office of the RDC, they should have amended it.
The appointment of RDCs is further clarified under the 1997 Local Government Act, where Section 72, Clause 1, mandates the President to appoint a number of deputy assistant RDCs in a district as he may deem necessary.
So you have an RDC, you have a deputy RDC, and assistant RDCs as officers in the office of the RDC. That's how the number comes to what you have said. So, and those assistant RDCs have two specific roles. One is to monitor corruption in the district, and two, to mobilize the population towards production.
In April 2024, more than 300 assistant resident commissioners were appointed, increasing Uganda's wage bill to 3 billion shillings. The annual salary bill for resident district commissioner RDCs is 3.9 billion shillings, with deputy RDCs taking home 2.4 billion and assistant RDCs receiving 2.9 billion shillings. This comes to approximately 2.2 million for RDCs, 1.2 million for deputy RDCs, and 817,000 per month for assistant representative, and 817 per month for assistant respectively.
Political scholar Dr. John Paul Kasuja criticizes the growing number of resident district commissioners, arguing that the structure resembles the NRM's bush war formations, later incorporated into government under the guise of a public institution. Now he questions the necessity of this expansion, suggesting it serves political interests rather than a public service.
When NRM captured power, they brought all their NRM structures into the government system. And in many cases, we see so many appointees as civil servants, but in the actual sense, they are NRM cadres. They are doing the work of the party, and they are using taxpayers' money to pay them to do the work of the party. And one of them, that section is actually the RDCs. The RDCs appear to be government civil servants to work for the nation, but in the actual sense, their sole aim is to work for the party, to ensure that the party stays in power and consolidates power in all the areas where they are. When you see 146 districts in Uganda and 360 RDCs, you realize that in some cases where the districts are a bit larger or big, you will have more than those RDCs. But the role is to ensure that they do the work of the party.
The National Resistance Movement Secretary General Richard Todwong has urged election losers to manage their disappointment and prioritize reconciliation over retaliation. Todwong's appeal comes amidst growing public frustration as many election losers from both the NRM and opposition parties remain discontent and haven't accepted their losses.
Many candidates have disputed the election results, alleging the Electoral Commission made false declarations, sparking widespread public outrage and frustration. But in an interview with NBS TV, NRM Secretary General Richard Todwong has criticized election losers, particularly opposition candidates, for failing to accept defeat. Todwong is urging losers to make peace with the outcome and move on, as Uganda needs to focus on the future.
We should not approach election from the perspective of a job seeker. We should not approach elections from winner takes it all. Election is to serve the people. If the people decide otherwise, you respect their verdict and you live on. Find a way of... I speak out of experience. I have lost elections before. I have won elections before. So I know the feeling after losing an election. And you might blame yourself. You might blame the people. You can become bitter about your supporters. You can become bitter about your agents. In other places, people have done projects in the constituency. They have even gone and closed those projects. Those are reactions of anger because it brings in a lot. But my advice is they should calm down. As long as the top is stable, the bottom will be organized.
As a party, Todwong says NRM's top organ, the Central Executive Committee, chaired by President Yoweri Museveni, resolved to activate its disciplinary committee to address election-related cases, including candidates who defied party wishes. This move, he says, targets those who went against party's decision, potentially facing disciplinary action.
Yes, reconciliation is part of the disciplinary committee activities. Reconciliation is one. If people fail to reconcile, then discipline comes in, and we are open to both options. We have reconciled very many members, and I'll urge Moses Chigongo, our first national vice chairman, is heading that committee, and they have been moving around the country, reconciling our party members, and many have been reconciled with one another.
Some of the NRM members who lost in the primaries choose to defy the party and run as independents, with a few even securing victory in their respective electoral areas. In a wake of actually strong NRM support, expectations are high for government appointments from the region, but Todwong is urging actually residents to prioritize development and service of an individual post.
To me, the programs that comes are much better than even the appointment. Because appointment is one for an individual. But when, for example, you bring NUSAF 4, that affects everybody. NUSAF 4 gives money to every local government, every sub-county, everybody benefits. To me, that is even much better than appointment. Because recognition is good. It is a sign of... But people don't eat those appointments. People don't use that to take their children to school. It has to be tangible. We have had series of appointments and offices, but the situation remains the same. To me, I rather look at the policies that should be there for everybody.
NRM made significant gains in the Acholi sub-region, though it faced mixed results in parliamentary races, losing key seats to DP and independents, despite President Yoweri Museveni's overall victory in the 2026 election results.
Now, the NRM Secretary General is pushing for post-election reconciliation, but joining us tonight to discuss the call for reconciliation is a Member of Parliament for Bulo East County, John Musila. And thank you very much for joining us this night. Now, how can Uganda address and rectify the electoral injustices before pursuing a reconciliation that is being talked about?
Now, to me, we got to come to terms with ourselves with the constitutional provisions of whether I am in government or not. I'm a Ugandan. And we must put right the electoral processes. I should say, without mincing words, that the Independent Electoral Commission has tried its best this time, especially the almost concluded electioneering system with a few glitches here and there, but that's the truth of the matter. They have tried.
Does reconciling after the electoral process rectify the injustices that happened during the electoral process?
Unlike in the 60s and early 90s when we started again electioneering in 1996, which I saw very well, I'd just come out of university. To me, reconciliation becomes prime. Of course, during campaigns, during all this politicking, we have heightened emotions. We have heightened, everybody comes up with anything. We have heightened expectations. Now, if they are dashed, certainly you go dismal. I wish to say there must be a mechanism, and it is within our constitution that we must bring back the Ugandans in a reconciliatory way, including even psychological attending to them. In NRM, we have that kind of thing. By the way, we only need to see it at national level, let alone that we have had associations like that of the Elders Forum and others. The Elders Forum should come up. Call all those who did not go through, together with those who went through different offices. Sit them together, reconcile them, mechanically reconcile them, then work on their psychology. That would be the best way. Reconciliation is very, very important.
Honorable, speaking about reconciliation, is reconciliation possible without fixing the electoral system and holding those responsible accountable?
Certainly, through reconciliation, that's when we bear out ourselves and say, so, whether institution or individual, we did wrong. What is reconciliation? You must as well accept that you did wrong or you did right. And once you come to that, once Ugandans come up to that level of owning whether mistakes or positive issues, that's when reconciliation can take root in this country. We have the religious leaders. They are there, and is it the interreligious organizations? They can do that. They can help us because they are also leaders. What is leadership? Is it only political leadership? No. In your own family, the Constitution says you are the head of that unit, the political unit called the family. The Rasaman has a family of about 20 children, biological, but of course much more wider than that. So I must begin with that. Then we develop like that. The other issue is what we propel as NRM. The moment we have a patriotic heart for our country, the moment you know that this human being, whether from east, west, or north, is a human being and a Ugandan, then we will reconcile. That's number one. Knowing that this Ugandan needs equal rights, equal whatever. He has a right to life and all liberties. That's when reconciliation can take root. And I wish and I call upon Ugandans. These are my parting shots. I want to call upon Ugandans. My parting shots. I want to call upon Ugandans
Member of Parliament, Kira Municipality, and Secretary General.
Welcome back. In other stories, as the 2026 election cycle approaches its climax, political pundits are raising concerns over fairness in the parliamentary representation, citing sharp discrepancies between population size and the number of members of parliament allocated to different regions, with sparsely populated regions enjoying a numerical advantage over urban and highly populated areas. Critics warn the imbalance could translate
the district's progress.
The time, the 10 years I've been a chairman, I think I've not worked well with the MPs. We've been disagreeing, and they have not been helpful. When they come, they want to show that they are doing things.
Because the chairman of LC5 doesn't go to parliament, doesn't allocate. He only waits what comes. We don't want to have this gap between...
The Rubirizi District LC5 chairman-elect, Agaba Obed Vyakureka, maintains that his victory was a mandate based on his vision for the future rather than his age.
So we want to engage them. We want to do these things in partnership as leaders and the local community. So my vision for the district is to see services delivered to all people.
A health practitioner and tutor by profession, Vyakureka pledged to follow up on presidential campaign promises, specifically the establishment of a district hospital. He emphasized that he will work closely with the elected MPs to fulfill these goals, echoing a priority also highlighted by his predecessor.
The MPs should follow it up. Then they reach out to the president and make sure that our pledge is followed on the ground. And then it is my role to follow up and see the supervision of this hospital.
But you know, there are some people who are born talented. Probably he's going to manage. And let him be aware of some people who want to exploit him.
God's voice comes from the people. If the people have given him that mandate, it means it's God saying the onus is on him to live to that expectation.
Now that was a story from Rubirizi talking about the election season. Now moving on to the election numbers. As the 2026 election cycle approaches its climax, political pundits are raising concerns over fairness in parliamentary representation, citing sharp discrepancies between the population size and the number of members of parliament allocated to the different regions, with sparsely populated regions enjoying a numerical advantage over urban and highly populated areas. Critics warn that the imbalance could translate into unfair resource allocation and skew national priorities.
Central to this debate is a growing disconnect between demographic realities and political representation, a concern that analysts say risks deepening regional inequality at a time when Parliament plays a central role in budgetary and policy decisions. According to the 2024 national census, the northern region accounts for 18% of Uganda's population but enjoys 25% parliamentary representation. The western region, with 23% of the population, holds 29% of parliamentary seats. In contrast, the eastern region, which comprises approximately 25% of the population, has 23% representation, while the central region, home to about 34% of Uganda's population, accounts for just 24% of parliamentary representation. Chira Municipality MP Ibrahim Semujunganda says The current arrangement undermines the principle of equal representation, arguing that population size should be a key determinant in parliamentary allocation.
Decisions in parliament are taken by numbers. So chances are high that areas with a high number of MPs will influence decisions in parliament. Because even when you argue from morning to evening, eventually every decision is going to be subjected to a vote.
Article 63, Clause 5 of the Constitution provides a framework for correcting such imbalances, stating that, subject to Clause 1, the Electoral Commission shall review the division of Uganda into constituencies within 12 months after the publication of census results and may, as a result, redemarcate constituency boundaries. It is, however, not clear why the Electoral Commission has not put this into force. The Electoral Commission could not readily comment on this by press time. Political pundits argued that the failure to align constituency boundaries with updated population data could be a political gimmick by the ruling government, accusations that they deny.
The services are not being delivered and the voices are not being heard. If you have 90 voices and somebody has 10, the 90 voices are more likely to be heard because of the greater number. So mathematically, it does matter.
Political analyst Waswa Lule says the imbalance extends beyond parliament into government programs where allocation formulas prioritize geography over population needs. Lule warns that such disparities risk entrenching inequality and fueling political discontent, particularly in fast-growing urban centers. Under the parish development model, critics point out that a parish in Karamoja with about 500 households receives the same 100 million shillings as a parish in Wakiso with more than 10,000 households, since PDM funds are distributed geographically rather than demographically.
This government prides itself in the parish development model. The population in the central region is bigger than the population in the eastern region. But the eastern region has more parishes than the central region. So you take more money to the eastern region and other regions compared to the center. Because in CA and part of the NRC, representation was based on the population.
There needs to be a total review around the country because so that constituencies can be reallocated according to population.
With nearly 70% of taxes collected from the central districts of Kampala, Mukono and Wakiso areas that collectively hold about 5% of parliamentary representation, analysts say the numerical disadvantage leaves the region structurally exposed in national decision-making.
Health rights activists have called for quality post-antenatal care for expectant and delivered mothers to reduce on post-delivery complications. Experts say if this is achieved, mothers and newborn babies shall be assured of good health. This as they launch the first postnatal recovery home dubbed Mama's Touch Recovery Home, offering postnatal care and checkups.
We always care for the pregnant mothers and those after delivery, which has not been tackled as we, the government workers. Our work is to deliver the mothers after delivery. When we see the baby crying and the mother is okay, we tell them they are fine. And yet there is that care, which is very, very important to both the baby and the mother. As midwives, after delivering, we send them home. But after, within that period of 1.5 months, there are several things which can happen, but whereby the midwife will not be there or the doctor will not be there. Things like blood pressure can raise during that time, or it can go very low, which we call high blood pressure or low blood pressure. All those things no one will monitor at home.
It's very important for a woman to recover from every situation, not only birth, so sure that you women recover from all sorts of things that put you down. Maybe childbirth, it may be stress, it may be depression, it may be a divorce. They take you through the breastfeeding and everything that means you being comfortable. Because one thing I've understood is that when the mother is at peace, the baby is going to have perfect health.
Why there are issues when someone has not massaged? First of all, there is that blood circulation and the fluids. It's not about the blood only. So when you give birth, it's like you've given away a life. It's too much work. The strain, the pushing, the energy. Recovering needs something like a touch of love, a touch of massage, a touch of professionalism.
We have services like infant training. To train you, every child comes with challenges. You need to relearn all the time you become a mother. You need to have new skills.
Now, top stories tonight. Uganda's RDC expansion sparks controversy over cost and necessity. And NRM's Twodong urges election losers to focus on reconciliation, not retaliation. We also looked at the political gangs that threaten Uganda's democracy as they freely raid polling stations and tally centers.
More to come, brought to you by...
Everyone knows we use Global Paint Undercoat. Now, for the best results, I continue with Global Paint's products.
Global Paint, a reliable...
Now, when we come back after the break, we'll be looking at the number of Ugandans that are cutting back on salt intake, thinking it is healthy. Is it healthy? Is it not healthy? That story will be coming up after the break. But right now, Live at 9 takes a short break and we'll be back after this.
If whiskey could talk, Johnny Walker Black Label would sing. With notes that only come with 12 years in a barrel. Sweet, smooth toffee, rich fruit, and a touch of smoke. Tastes as good as it sounds.
Looking for a vacation of a lifetime? Cross the equator and discover Pineapple Bay Resort. Enjoy exceptional life's luxuries. Spend quality time with family, friends, or even that special someone. Get in touch with nature with our range of outdoor activities. The calming tranquility of water, breathtaking views, moving memories around campfires. It's all here. Plus, a club experience like no other at Pineapple Bay Clubhouse. It's a whole vibe. You can hire any of our 3 VIP cruise boats for groups of 10, 14, or 25 people. Or you can cruise out with swag on a luxury yacht for 12 people. Our premium boats are all safety compliant. Make your next vacay an all-round experience at Pineapple Bay, located on Bulago Island, right in the midst of Lake Victoria. Talk to us today.
So, Muchara.
Yes, Daddy.
You know the children are going back to school and things are a bit tight. Huh? For now, why don't you take half of the fees to junior school, and for the school van contribution, we shall pay later. Huh?
Daddy, why don't we pay using MTN Momo, where we stand a chance of winning school fees for a whole year and more? By the way, you can also apply for a school fees loan, and also participating schools can win a school van.
That's right! Win school fees for a whole year and more. Get Momo goodies and a school van for participating schools. You can also apply for a school fees loan. Simply dial *165 *80# or use the Momo app.
This PDM is to get all of you out of poverty. That's why we said 100 million per parish per year.
The parish development model is designed to eradicate poverty by providing the support necessary for financial independence.
We have seen how how much 1 million can do. The whole of Uganda is very rich. So what you call poverty is actually ignorance. We need everybody to come up.
Let us all take advantage of the conducive prevailing atmosphere of political stability, peace and security to ensure that all our people come out of poverty.
And I've told the banks to stop deducting from the 1 million. You must get the 1 million full. The government is the one which will pay the bank charges.
Now the number of stools in this Matoke enterprise are 1,000. They are on 1 acre. And we harvest 17 bunches every day. The money that we get from this matoke, after selling each bunch at 15,000 shillings, for the whole year, we get 91.9 million shillings. So I want to encourage all the people of Teso also to change the mindset and adopt to new crops which were not traditionally grown here.
We emphasize two words, wealth and jobs. This PDM is to get all of you out of poverty.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
Welcome back. Now we move on to matters health. Many Ugandans are cutting back on salt, thinking it is healthy and it is the right thing to do. But Dr. Paul Kasenene, a medical expert, says it's not that simple. Tonight on NBS on Health, we look into why salt is essential to the body and how its moderation changes everything and what people should really know before cutting it out completely.
For years, salt has carried a bad reputation from hospital advice to household conversations. Many people now associate it with high blood pressure, heart disease, and poor health. As a result, some families have reduced salt intake and others have eliminated it altogether. But nutrition expert Dr. Paul Kasenene says this growing fear may be missing a crucial point.
The challenge comes because too much sodium in the body can cause problems. And specifically, it has largely been linked to blood pressure problems. And the reason is sodium as a mineral pulls water. And so if you have a lot of sodium in your blood, you're going to increase your blood volume, which is going to increase your blood pressure. So historically and over the years, the message has become that people should avoid salt because it causes high blood pressure. But that is not true.
According to Dr. Kasenene, the real issue is not salt itself, but excess. To him, too much salt over time can strain the heart and raise blood pressure, especially when combined with processed food and sedentary lifestyles. He cautions that cutting salt out completely can also come with risks.
At the end of the day, the body requires salt. It's a very important substance. Sodium and chloride are very important. Salt is extremely important for nerve function. It's extremely important for muscle contraction. That's why when people, start running and they're losing salt, they get cramps. It's very important for regulating the amount of fluid in our body. So it's a very, very useful substance. And so we need it in our body.
Health experts now emphasize the use of small amounts of salt while paying attention to where most sodium actually comes from. For many Ugandans, the biggest source isn't the salt, but packaged foods, fast foods, and seasonings that already contain high sodium levels.
Simple things like bread, like tomato sauce, like sausages, like bacon, any processed foods, whether it's gorillas or crisps, all these things, even soda, contain sodium. So what happens is, by the time somebody starts to take salt, he has already taken so much sodium in his diet from these artificial things, biscuits and the like, that when he takes salt, then it seems to become a lot.
As conversations around healthy living continue, Dr. Kasenene encourages people to seek medical advice before making drastic dietary changes, especially those with existing conditions.
Now, Kenya and the United States are deepening security cooperation in the Horn of Africa as a major expansion of a strategic Mande Bay military base that gets underway in Lamu County. The move comes amidst rising concerns over extremist groups and regional instability, as Brian Amwai reports. This move signals a fresh chapter in the defense partnership between Nairobi and Washington.
On Kenya's northern coastline, Manda Bay stands as one of the most strategic military installations in the Horn of Africa, and now a renewed symbol of deepening security ties between Kenya and the United States. The Kenyan and US governments are strengthening their defense partnership through a major expansion of the Manda Bay airfield, including the construction of a 10,000-foot runway designed to accommodate larger military and surveillance aircraft. The upgrade is expected to significantly improve rapid deployment, intelligence operations, and counter-terrorism missions across East Africa.
That security in this region is indivisible, and that instability in one part of the Horn of Africa, or the Indian Ocean, has far-reaching consequences well beyond our borders.
Manda Bay hosts joint operations by the Kenya Defense Forces and US Africa Command under the Combined Joint Task Force Horn of Africa.
Kenya and the United States have a very strong partnership built over the years, and we would like to see it grow into the future for the benefit of our citizens.
The base plays a critical role in monitoring and responding to threats posed by extremist groups such as Al-Shabaab, whose activities continue to destabilize the region.
The expansion of the Kenya Navy base Manda runway is a deliberate and forward-looking strategic investment. It will significantly enhance operational reach, airlift capacity, and logistical sustainment for joint and partner military operations.
It is a very tangible commitment to the common defense between the United States and Kenya. I think that sends a very strong signal to those who would be our adversaries.
The strategic importance of Manda Bay was underlined in 2020 when the base was attacked by Al-Shabaab militants, an incident that exposed vulnerabilities and accelerated efforts to reinforce security at the facility. Since then, surveillance systems, force protection measures, and joint intelligence sharing have been expanded.
We have to show those who would attack us that we are resolved to defend ourselves.
Between us and Somalia, we have a borderline of about 1,000 kilometers. It's very porous.
From Somalia to Ethiopia and the Red Sea corridor, instability in the Horn of Africa continues to pose security and economic risks, making cooperation at installations like Manda Bay critical not just for Kenya, but for the wider region.
Security provides a foundation for economic growth and the well-being of both our societies.
As the runway expansion progresses, Manda Bay is evolving from a remote coastal base into a key pillar of regional security, reinforcing Kenya's position as a frontline partner in safeguarding peace across the Horn of Africa. Brian Amoai, K24, Nairobi.
Thank you, Brian. Moving on, the opposition political parties in Bunyoro sub-region are up in arms, alleging that the ruling NRM created an uneven playing field during the election. They claim intimidation and bribery tactics swayed the election, with some opposition candidates allegedly crossing over to NRM. But veteran politician Birahwa put some blame on the opposition itself, citing divisions in Kampala that erode trust.
In the just concluded elections, the NRM swept the Bunyoro sub-region, winning 26 out of the 28 parliamentary seats. The opposition managed just 2 wins. The Hoima City Woman MP by PFFs Nyakato Asinansi and Ismail Kasule in Hoima City West. The National Unity Platform Deputy Mobilizer for Western Uganda, Bridget Kugonza, and Matia Kajura, the regional UPC coordinator, said they would have secured more slots, but they faced a lot of intimidations coupled with candidates that were bought off.
Even here, they arrested our comrade member, Vian Bashabe, our coordinators who came from Kampala to supervise us. They were also arrested, one from Kikuve, even in Masindi, everywhere in Bunyoro. So that caused more panic in that people didn't guard our win well.
Our people here believe that they have been let down. They have not been, NRM has not delivered to their expectations. That's why you see people now in Hoima City, they are voting personality, not the parties.
The opposition says they are now focusing on recruiting members and laying strong ground for future elections.
We are going to keep on intensifying our existence and presence in Bunyoro. We are going to work on more structure building. We are going to again work more in teaching people why they need change.
I believe in by 2031, the opposition will have spread even further.
While these blame the ruling NRM for their failure, veteran politician Stephen Birahwa Mkitare links their troubles to divisions and fights within opposition political parties.
NUP broke out into two parts within PUG. FDC broke into two parts. PFF and I don't know what, FDC. UPC couldn't even stand. DP married to NRM. So really, who can trust a house which is not at peace? For us, our threat would have been if PLOE insisted front a candidate.
The Kikuve resident district commissioner Godwin Kasegwa Angalia rubbishes the claims that opposition was harassed and intimidated, noting that they had no agenda for Bunyoro.
Among those members of NRM in Hoima City, to be specific, we cannot have any opposition member. For us in Kikuve, we are moving as a team.
In a surprising twist, NRM's dominance in Bunyoro sub-region didn't quite translate to local government elections. They lost most of the slots to independents, many of whom are reportedly NRM sympathizers.
Now, Ntungamo district, also known as the first district by its natives and birthplace to Uganda's first family, has over the years transformed from modest beginnings into a growing administrative and economic hub. The district has largely been powered by commercial coffee production and expanding agribusiness. Formed in 1993, the business has steadily built strong institutions, improved social services, and strengthened its productive sectors, positioning itself as a model of local development in western Uganda.
Ntungamo district was officially created in 1993 after being carved from Barara and Bushenyi districts, bringing together Ruhama, Rushenyi, and Kajara counties. At its inception, the district operated from shared sub-county structures with limited land, infrastructure, and financial resources. Through graduated tax and central government support, leaders laid the foundation for permanent administrative buildings, marking the beginning of organized governance and service delivery.
In the graduated tax, so they would deduct 5,000 from each taxpayer where they bought that piece of land where the headquarters are right now, and they out of that money they construct the present district headquarters, and supported by the central government.
Former LC5 chairperson John Wycliffe Karazari and his team spearheaded the construction of the current administration block with over 72 officers, reinforcing Ntungamo's administrative capacity. The Ntungamo District Chief Administrative Officer Phildaus Chiza reveals how the district has improved its national assessment ranking, moving to position 28 out of 176 local governments from 138 in the previous assessment. It has equally cleaned its payroll system, thus addressing the issue of ghost health facilities.
We came out to be number 28 in the whole country, and we hope this assessment, we are likely to go below even number 10.
In the education sector, Ntungamo has registered major progress with the construction of 4 seed secondary schools alongside increased teacher recruitment. The teacher-pupil ratio now stands at 37.2. Health services have also expanded, with facilities upgraded and Itojo Hospital elevated to district referral status. Agriculture remains the backbone of Ntungamo's economy. Through the parish development model, over 46 billion shillings has been distributed to 129 circles, benefiting nearly 40,000 households. Coffee has emerged as the district's flagship enterprise, generating about 16 billion shillings annually, supported by irrigation schemes and value addition through factories such as Inspire Coffee Africa, positioning Ntungamo as an economic hub.
Every financial year, every season, we earn 16 billion in coffee sales only in the district. And this shows that as a result of that intervention through PDM, many farmers have engaged in coffee production, and therefore the productivity has gone high.
Former leaders attribute today's progress to early planning and decentralization, which expanded administrative units, social services, and infrastructure. From 3 counties in 1993, Ntungamo now has 5 constituencies, 19 sub-counties and 12 town councils, enabling modern planning and localized development.
When we established the district, that's when we started enrolling the staff. And the staff that was started by that time of the district was around 50. But now, in the whole district, we have over 5,000 employed civil servants.
The road network has expanded from about 500 kilometers to over 2,054 kilometers, improving connectivity, and water coverage has increased from 20% to 77%. Revenue performance has also improved, with the district collecting over 923 million shillings in the first half of this financial year, against the target of 947 million shillings, due to early procurement, planning and enhanced supervision.
We are almost overshooting our budget just in 6 months.
Looking forward, Ntungamo is positioning itself as a major economic hub. Beyond coffee and agribusiness, plans are underway to establish pig iron production aimed at promoting mineral processing, industrial growth and job creation. Meanwhile, calls to split the district with a total population of 552,786 people into 3 more districts are growing louder.
In foreign news, on the international scene, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has warned that any attack by the U.S. would spark a regional conflict. His warning comes as the U.S. continues to build up its forces nearby. He says the Americans should know that if they start a war this time, it will be a regional war. Donald Trump earlier said Iran was in serious discussions and he hoped they would lead to something acceptable, while Iran's top security official also said a framework for negotiations was progressing. Trump has threatened to intervene in Iran over its nuclear ambitions and after its deadly crackdown on anti-government protests. As part of its build-up of forces, the U.S. has sent its aircraft carrier, the USS Abraham Lincoln, to the region, and late last week, U.S. Central Command said it was operating in the Arabian Sea. Iran is expected to begin a 2-day live-fire naval exercise late on Sunday in the Strait of Hormuz, now one of the world's most important lanes and a key route for energy supplies. Around a fifth of the world's traded oil passes through the waterway, which is about 33 kilometers wide at its narrowest point between Iran and Oman. Iran has in the past threatened to close the strait if it was attacked.
Business Pulse.
Now, 8 years after its launch in 2017, the Buy Uganda, Build Uganda policy has registered measurable economic gains, widely viewed as a key industrialization and a local content initiative. Speaking to NBS TV, the Ministry of Finance Director for Economic Affairs, Moses Kagwa, said implementation has surpassed initial targets, placing local producers at the center of Uganda's development agenda.
The Buy Uganda, Build Uganda initiative was designed to promote the consumption of locally produced goods and services, mainly through government procurement and other commercial channels. Its goal is to enhance competitiveness of local private sector, expand market share, create jobs, build wealth and drive shared prosperity. Beyond boosting demand, the policy includes targeted interventions in capacity development, quality assurance and standards compliancy, enabling Ugandan firms to deliver reliable, high-quality products on time.
The BUBU policy has priority areas which were selected because of the ability and the potential, and for the country to supply quality and reliable to both domestic and international markets.
Government spending figures for the year 2024-2025 show local procurement reached 5.186 trillion shillings, with construction materials, power infrastructure, food and beverages, textiles, pharmaceuticals, and leather among other leading sectors.
These include iron and steel, cement, electric cables and conductors, foods and beverages, textiles, pharmaceuticals, leather and leather products, construction materials, and some services. And during, of course, these 8 years of implementation, we have seen beneficiary sectors which have grown, like construction, furniture making, pharmaceuticals, and steel and textiles. The benefits to the construction has been mostly through subcontracting of major construction projects, of major public works, maintenance, and innovation. And we have seen a lot of local construction companies coming up in this space. Then what we have also seen is that the implementation has surpassed what we call the set targets. For instance, the supermarket shelf space for local products now stands at 56% against the set target of 50%.
Into immediate effect to guarantee athletes' safety and accountability.
To ensure that these athletes are actually safeguarded against these vices like the gender-based violences, which are rampant, issues to do with sexuality, because we've seen athletes who are being sexually abused by the coaches. And these policies will definitely help them. We've seen coaches who even tell athletes that when you get pregnant and abort, and you'll become a better runner.
It gives us a base, especially for our children, our grassroots, so that these children come up and know their rights. Our athletes today, unfortunately, even some at the elite level or the professional level, don't know their rights. They don't know that they have a right to tell the coach to say, I'm not feeling well, or I have a problem at home. And the issue about homosexuality, it's very important for sports people to know that even when you're associated to a particular sport, you're still in the laws or you're still in the country, Uganda.
Athletes and coaches have welcomed the proposed changes, describing them as a positive step towards a safer sport. They, however, urge the authorities to ensure that the policies are implemented and not left as mere guidelines.
Having male coaches disturbing some of my young girls, I think it's going to be good. The policies have come up.
It has been there, we have been talking about it, and nothing has always been done. Now it is time for action.
At least there are some areas they have to tackle. They remove some soft penalties and they include hard penalties.
The ladies, when you get some little money, the men can look to your money. So if you have not given him what he wants, immediately that's what he has to do. But the government has to come out and fight for us, the women.
We have had cases of sexual harassment, sexual abuse. We have had cases of exploitation. So this is the right time for these injustices to be checked.
The revised policy seeks to establish clear and transparent reporting mechanisms as well as effective case management systems to improve athletes' welfare.
Thank you very much for being an amazing audience. That brings us to the end of Live at 9 for tonight. Canary, Samson and Sibia will be here tomorrow to take you through the week. From me and the entire team, enjoy your new week and good night.